Ladies and gentlemen, dreamers and seekers of truth, today I invite you into a world that exists beyond the surface of what our eyes can see. We are taught from childhood that reality is limited to what is visible, touchable, and measurable. Yet, deep within us lies a forgotten power, a forbidden technique that can awaken what I call the inner vision. This is not about magic tricks or illusions. It is about accessing the hidden layers of perception, intuition, spiritual clarity that most of us have silenced. It is about learning to look beyond the obvious, to sense the unseen energies, to read the unspoken truths, and to unlock the wisdom that hides in silence. The forbidden technique is not forbidden because it is dangerous, because it threatens the ordinary way of living. If you master it, you stop being a passive observer of life and become an awakened participant, capable of seeing what others miss. So, how do we awaken this gift? How do we train the mind and the soul to pierce through the invisible? Let me share with you 7 powerful keys that open the door to your inner vision. Very first and most crucial step in activating your inner vision is learning to silence the noise of the mind. Think about this. Your mind is like a crowded city filled with constant traffic. Thoughts rush in like cars on a busy highway, some honking with worry, some speeding with fear, some dragging slowly with regret. From the moment you wake up, your mind is filled with endless chatter. What will happen today? Did I say the right thing yesterday? What if I fail? What if they don't like me? This mental noise is the fog that blinds your inner sight. You cannot see beyond the invisible when your mind is drowning in distractions. Imagine trying to look through a lake full of ripples. You'll never see what lies beneath the surface. But when the water becomes still, suddenly you can see to the very bottom. The mind works exactly the same way. Inner vision awakens only when inner stillness is created. Silencing the noise does not mean completely emptying the mind. Very few can achieve that instantly. Instead, it means training the mind to obey your command instead of running wildly. This can be done through meditation, mindful breathing, or simply practicing presence. When you close your eyes and take slow, deep breaths, you slowly guide your awareness away from the chaos of thoughts. Every inhale calms the storm, and every exhale releases unnecessary clutter. Over time, you begin to notice the difference between 2 voices within you: the loud, restless chatter of the ego and the soft, gentle whisper of the soul. The ego screams, the soul whispers. And unless you silence the noise, you will never hear the whisper. True silence is not just the absence of sound. It is the absence of mental chaos. When you sit in silence, you reconnect with the present moment, where all true vision begins. You start noticing details you normally ignore, like the rhythm of your breath, the beating of your heart, the subtle sensations in your body. These are not distractions. They are gateways. The more you pay attention, the more you tune into the invisible currents of life that most people never feel. Remember, this: silence is the doorway and stillness is the key. When you master the art of calming your mind, you sharpen the lens of perception. And once the mind becomes still, the hidden world, energies, intuitions, insights, starts revealing itself. The invisible becomes visible. So the first step is not to seek visions, not to force your mind to see, but simply to sit in silence until your own inner sight awakens naturally. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is the birthplace of vision. Imagination is often dismissed as child's play, as daydreaming, or as something that has no place in the serious business of life. Yet, what most people fail to realize is this: imagination is the secret muscle of inner vision. It is not weakness. It is one of the strongest forces within the human mind. Every invention, every discovery, every masterpiece of art, every revolution in thought began as an image in someone's imagination before it became real. When you close your eyes and picture something that doesn't exist yet, you are not escaping reality. You are creating the blueprint for a new one. The forbidden technique to activate inner vision requires that you first strengthen this hidden faculty. Because before you can see the invisible, you must first train yourself to believe in the invisible. Think of imagination as a muscle. A muscle that is never used becomes weak, almost invisible. But the more you use it, the stronger it grows. Children live in imagination naturally. They can turn a cardboard box into a castle, a stick into a sword, a shadow into a magical creature. As we grow older, society tells us to be realistic, and in doing so, we bury one of the greatest powers we have. The forbidden technique is about reviving this sleeping muscle and teaching it to work with precision. So, how do you train imagination? Begin with visualization exercises. Close your eyes and imagine something simple: a candle flame, a rose, a tree. At first, it may feel blurry. You may not see it clearly, but that's okay. With daily practice, your mind learns to sharpen the image until it feels almost real. Then, move to more complex scenes. Imagine walking through a forest, feeling the crunch of leaves under your feet, hearing the sound of distant birds, smelling the fragrance of wet earth. Engage all senses. The richer the image, the stronger your inner vision becomes. Why is this important? Because the universe speaks in images, not in words. Dreams, intuitions, visions, all of them come in symbols and pictures. If your imagination is weak, you will not recognize them. But if your imagination is trained, you will understand these images as a hidden language guiding you toward deeper truth. Consider great minds like Nikola Tesla. He used imagination not as fantasy, but as a laboratory. He could see his inventions in such detail in his mind that he would test them mentally before building them. Is the level of imagination we are capable of. When trained, imagination is not illusion, it is foresight. And here lies the forbidden aspect. A strong imagination makes you independent of the physical world. You are no longer limited to what your eyes can see. You can see beyond the visible, beyond the now, beyond the ordinary. It gives you access to a reality that exists first in spirit before it takes form in matter. So, when you train your imagination, you are not just playing with thoughts. You are aligning yourself with the creative force of the universe. You are shaping the invisible into something that can one day walk into the visible world. In truth, imagination is the bridge between what is and what could be. Only those who dare to cross that bridge will discover the hidden worlds waiting on the other side. Logic is a beautiful gift. It has built civilizations, invented machines, and solved countless problems. But logic, no matter how sharp, is bound by limits. Logic depends on facts, on patterns already observed, on what can be measured, calculated, and proven. Logic walks only on roads that already exist. Intuition, on the other hand, creates roads where none exist. Intuition is that quiet inner voice, that unshakable feeling, mysterious knowing that whispers the truth long before logic catches up. It does not always come with evidence. It does not always explain itself. But when you honor it, when you trust it, intuition becomes the compass that guides you through the unseen. Why is this so important for activating inner vision? Because the invisible cannot always be explained. There are energies, patterns, and subtle truths that logic will never capture. Logic is like a candle in a dark cave, helpful but limited. Park intuition is like a torch that lights hidden tunnels you didn't even know were there. Without it, you remain trapped in what is obvious. With it, you begin to see what others miss. Think about moments in your life when your intuition was right. Maybe you met someone and instantly felt you could trust them. Or, the opposite, you sensed danger even though everything looked fine on the surface. Perhaps you avoided a path without knowing why, only to learn later that trouble was waiting there. That is the power of intuition, bypasses the slow process of analysis and connects you directly to truth. The problem is, most people have been taught to doubt this power. Society rewards logic and evidence. It laughs at gut feelings. It says, don't trust your heart, trust the facts. But facts are not always complete. Logic can be manipulated, but intuition rarely lies. To activate inner vision, you must reverse the conditioning. You must learn to honor the whispers within, even when they defy reason. How do we strengthen intuition? By practicing stillness and presence. The quieter your mind, the easier it is to recognize the gentle nudges of intuition. By keeping a journal of your intuitive feelings and checking later if they were correct, you build trust in your inner voice. By following small intuitive impulses, choosing a different route, calling someone unexpectedly, you begin to notice how life responds. Each time you honor intuition, it grows stronger. Logic is like the map, intuition is like the compass. The map can show you paths that others have drawn, but the compass points to your true direction, even when no map exists. Inner vision requires both, but it demands that intuition lead the way. Here lies the forbidden truth. Intuition is feared by systems of control. A person who trusts their inner vision cannot be easily manipulated, because they see beyond appearances. They sense lies behind smiles, truth behind silence, opportunity behind uncertainty. Such a person is powerful, and society prefers people who only follow logic, rules, and what is proven. That is why trusting intuition feels forbidden. It makes you free. So I ask you, the next time you feel that unexplainable pull inside, will you silence it or will you honor it? Your inner vision depends on the choice. Logic will keep you safe, but intuition will make you limitless. There is one skill that separates those who wander through life from those who master it. It is focus. Inner vision is not a gift that simply falls into your lap. It is a discipline, a training, a sharpening of attention until your awareness cuts through illusions like a blade through fog. Most people today live with scattered attention. Their minds are divided into fragments. Half here, half there, jumping from one thought to the next, distracted by phones, noise, endless notifications and worries. This is why their inner vision remains blurry. Imagine trying to light a fire with sunlight. If the rays are scattered, they only give warmth. But if you concentrate them through a magnifying glass, the scattered light becomes a burning flame. Focus is that magnifying glass for the mind. To develop the art of inner focus, you must train yourself to hold your attention deliberately without letting it drift. This sounds simple, but it is one of the hardest disciplines. The mind is restless by nature. It loves to wander. Thinks about the past, it worries about the future, it invents stories. But when you teach the mind to stay still, to anchor itself on one image, one word, one thought, you begin to cultivate inner strength that few possess. Here's how this connects to inner vision. The invisible world reveals itself only to the mind that can hold still long enough to notice. A distracted mind misses the whispers, the patterns, subtle energies. But a focused mind sees them clearly. Focus is the bridge between ordinary sight and extraordinary perception. Practical exercises help. Start small, stare at a candle flame for 5 minutes without looking away. Your eyes may want to wander, your thoughts may try to escape, but gently bring them back. This is not just about looking at a flame, it is about training your mind to obey. Another method is mantra repetition. Choose one word or sound, repeat it slowly, and notice how your focus sharpens. Over time, these practices build the muscle of attention until you can sustain it for longer and deeper periods. Why is this so powerful? Because focus gathers energy. Scattered energy achieves little, but focused energy can move mountains. Athletes call it the zone, artists call it flow, monks call it single-pointed concentration. In that state, distractions fade, time disappears, and you see with a clarity that is almost supernatural. And this is where the forbidden technique lies. Once you master focus, you can direct it inward, not just outward. You can focus on your breath until you feel life itself flowing through you. You can focus on the space between thoughts until visions emerge from silence. You can focus on the subtle sensations of your body until energy pathways reveal themselves. This is how you begin to see beyond the visible world. Think of focus as a sacred lens. When it is blurred, reality looks ordinary. When it is sharpened, reality becomes extraordinary. With focus, you stop skimming the surface of life and start diving into its depths. The truth is, art of inner focus has been forgotten in our fast-moving age. Society encourages distraction because a distracted mind is easy to control. But a focused mind, calm, steady, and deliberate, is dangerous to illusion. It cannot be deceived because it sees with piercing clarity. That is why the path of focus feels forbidden. It takes you out of the world of noise and into the world of truth. So practice this. The next time your attention drifts, do not scold yourself. Gently pull it back again and again, like training a wild horse to obey. With time, you will master the art of inner focus, and when you do, the invisible will no longer remain hidden. Across ancient cultures, from Egypt to India, from Tibet to native traditions, there exists a symbol repeated again and again, the third eye. Some call it the eye of wisdom, others the eye of the soul, and many recognize it as the gateway to higher sight. Unlike your physical eyes, which see the outside world, the third eye sees what is hidden, energy, truth, and the deeper reality that lies beneath appearances. But here is the challenge: the third eye does not awaken automatically. It requires awareness, conscious effort to observe life beyond the ordinary. Most people drift through life half asleep, blind, not because their eyes don't work, because their awareness is unfocused. They look, but they do not see. They hear, but they do not listen. They exist, but they do not awaken. Awakening the third eye is not about forcing mystical visions. It is about cultivating such sharp awareness that the invisible naturally reveals itself. Of it like tuning a radio. The signals are always there, but unless you adjust the dial, you hear only static. Awareness is the tuning dial for the third eye. The more finely you tune it, the clearer the hidden signals become. How do you practice this awareness? Start with the simple. Pay attention to the details. Most people overlook the texture of the air around you, subtle shifts in people's moods, the silence between words. When you walk, notice the ground beneath your feet. When you breathe, feel the air move through your body. These tiny acts of awareness sharpen perception until the third eye begins to stir. Over time, you will notice something extraordinary. Patterns emerge where before you saw only chaos. The energy of people, the vibration of places, symbolic messages in dreams, these start becoming obvious. What once seemed invisible becomes undeniable. You may walk into a room and immediately sense harmony or tension, even before anyone speaks. You may look at someone's eyes and feel their unspoken emotions. You may close your eyes and see images, colors, or visions that carry meaning. This is the awakening of inner sight. The third eye is not located in the physical body. It is a center of perception, often symbolized between the eyebrows, but truly it exists in consciousness. When awareness deepens, this eye opens, and you begin to see beyond form into essence. You no longer take appearances at face value. Instead, you sense the truth behind them. And here lies the forbidden secret. Once the third eye is awakened, illusions lose their power over you. Advertisements, manipulations, false promises, superficial masks, they all crumble in front of your awakened sight. You see the world as it truly is, and that makes you unshakable. A person whose third eye is open cannot be easily deceived. because they no longer rely only on outer appearances. They trust their deeper perception. Accelerate this awakening. Many traditions recommend specific practices: meditation on light, focusing on the space between the eyebrows, breathing exercises that balance the body's energy, and even chanting vibrations like Om that resonate with the pineal gland, often associated with the third eye. But remember, techniques alone are not enough. The foundation is awareness. Without awareness, techniques are empty. With awareness, every moment becomes a practice. Awakening the third eye is not about seeing ghosts or supernatural creatures. It is about gaining clarity of purpose, clarity of truth, clarity of self. It is about piercing the veil of illusion that keeps humanity asleep and discovering that life is richer, deeper, and more interconnected than we ever imagined. So let me leave you with this truth. Your third eye is not something you must find. It is already within you. All you must do is awaken it by living in awareness. When you do, you will see not just with your eyes, but with your soul. Most of humanity is trained to believe that reality is made only of matter, what we can touch, measure, and see with our physical eyes. We are told, this is real because it is solid. This is true because it is visible. If it cannot be weighed, if it cannot be counted, does not exist. But this belief is only half the truth. In fact, it is the illusion that blinds most people. The deeper reality is this: everything is energy first and matter second. The chair you sit on, the phone in your hand, the body you live in, all are made of vibrating particles of energy, condensed into form. Science has confirmed what mystics have always known. Matter is nothing but energy slowed down to a visible frequency. And once you understand this, you begin to shift your perception. You no longer see the world as only physical objects. You see it as flowing fields of vibration, constantly interacting, constantly shaping reality. Why is this important for inner vision? Because when you align with energy, you begin to sense truths that the physical eyes cannot detect. Running, for example, when you meet someone, your logical mind notices their clothes, their smile, their words. But your energetic perception notices their aura, their vibration, the silent feeling they carry. Have you ever felt drained after spending time with someone, or uplifted by someone else's presence without knowing why? That is energy. The invisible field speaks louder than appearances. Training yourself to align with energy means you stop focusing only on surface forms and start attuning yourself to vibrations. You begin to notice the energy signature of places, people, and even thoughts. A room where an argument just happened feels heavy, even if it looks perfectly clean. A person who carries peace radiates calmness, even without speaking. This is not fantasy. It is a higher layer of reality that most ignore. How do you develop this sensitivity? First, by becoming aware of your own energy. Notice how your body feels when you are angry versus when you are joyful. Notice how your breath changes with your emotions. The body is an antenna, constantly picking up signals. Second, practice energy alignment through meditation, breathwork, and grounding exercises. For instance, when you breathe deeply and visualize light flowing through you, you are aligning your frequency with higher vibrations. When you walk barefoot on the earth, you are harmonizing your energy with nature's rhythm. Once you begin to align with energy, life transforms. You start attracting experiences that match your vibration because energy resonates with energy. Fear attracts fear, love attracts love, clarity attracts clarity. This is why inner vision requires you to tune yourself like an instrument. A guitar out of tune produces noise, a soul out of alignment produces confusion. But when tuned, both create harmony. Here lies the forbidden truth. Society trains you to value matter over energy because energy makes you powerful. If you remain focused only on material appearances, you stay blind. But if you awaken to energy, You cannot be controlled because you see the truth behind illusions. You see that money is not just paper, it is energy of exchange. You see that health is not just the body, it is the flow of life force within. You see that love is not just words, it is a vibration that can heal and transform. When you live aligned with energy, you stop chasing matter desperately. Instead, you master vibration and matter follows. You no longer force life, you flow with it. You no longer see yourself as just flesh and bone. You see yourself as a luminous being of energy connected to the infinite field of the universe. And that is the essence of inner vision, to see not only the form but the force behind the form. To see not just the body but the spirit. To see not just the visible but the invisible currents shaping reality. So remember, this matter is temporary. Energy is eternal. Work to activate your inner vision, align with energy, and the world will reveal itself to you in ways most people will never believe. One of the greatest obstacles to awakening inner vision is illusion. The belief that appearances are reality. From the moment we are born, society conditions us to chase shadows. We are told happiness is in possessions, success is in status, beauty is in the mirror, truth is in what you see. But all of this is a carefully woven veil. When you attach yourself to the surface of life, you remain blind to the depths. Detachment does not mean rejection. It does not mean you must abandon your family, give up your dreams, or live without joy. True detachment means freedom, freedom from being enslaved by illusions, freedom from mistaking masks for truth, freedom from the chains of appearances. Think of it this way: if you walk into a theater and mistake the actors for real people, you will suffer every time the play turns tragic. But if you know it is a performance, you can enjoy the drama without losing your peace. Life, too, is a theater of illusions. People wear roles, circumstances shift, appearances deceive. Detachment is the wisdom of watching the play without becoming trapped in it. Why is this so essential for inner vision? Because as long as you cling to illusions, your perception remains clouded. You cannot see energy if you are obsessed with matter. You cannot hear intuition if you are hypnotized by noise. You cannot awaken your third eye if your heart is enslaved by false appearances. Detachment clears the fog and reveals what lies beyond. Let's break this down. Illusion of material possession. We believe I am what I own, but possessions fade, break, or get lost. When you detach, you realize you are more than what you own. You are the energy that created it in the first place. Illusion of identity. We believe I am my name, my job, my role, but these are labels, costumes. When you detach, you realize you are the consciousness wearing these labels, not the labels themselves. Illusion of control. We believe we can control life, but storms, changes, and losses prove otherwise. Attachment teaches you to flow rather than fight, to adapt rather than cling. Illusion of permanence. We believe things will last forever. Everything changes. Detachment awakens you to impermanence, so you can value the present without being chained by it. Detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. When you detach, you can love more deeply, because your love is not poisoned by fear of loss. Running through the park, you can enjoy life more fully, because you are not chained by the illusion that enjoyment depends on external things. You can see reality more clearly, because you are no longer fooled by its disguises. Consider the great sages and mystics lived in the same world we live in, yet they saw through it. They could walk among riches without being greedy, walk among pain without being destroyed, walk among illusions without being deceived. Why? Because they practiced detachment. Inner vision was so clear that appearances no longer controlled them. Here lies the forbidden truth. Illusion keeps humanity asleep, and attachment keeps humanity enslaved. If you detach from illusion, you reclaim your power. You begin to see that society's promises, buy this and you will be happy. Achieve this and you will be free, are illusions that keep you running in circles. When you step back, detach, and observe, you break the cycle. And once free, your inner vision reveals the true treasures: peace, wisdom, clarity, connection with the infinite. Detachment is not escape. It is mastery. It is standing in the middle of chaos with calm eyes, watching illusions dance around you, knowing they cannot touch the core of who you are. It is the ultimate liberation. So, my friends, if you wish to activate your inner vision, you must loosen your grip on illusions. See them, acknowledge them, but do not be enslaved by them. Because when you detach from what is false, you finally make space for what is real. And what is real? The eternal, the invisible, the truth that shines beyond appearances, is what your inner vision was made to see. My dear friends, running through the park, the journey to activate your inner vision is not about chasing miracles outside of you. It is about awakening the miracle already within. Forbidden technique is not forbidden because it is dangerous. It is forbidden because it makes you powerful. It frees you from illusions, from fear, from the limits that keep most people blind. When you silence the noise of the mind, train your imagination, trust your intuition, master inner focus, awaken the third eye, align with energy, and detach from illusions, you become more than an observer of life. You become a seer of truth. You begin to walk in clarity while others stumble in confusion. You begin to sense what others miss, to know what cannot be taught, to see what cannot be shown. The world will tell you that reality is only what you can touch. But your inner vision will prove otherwise. It will show you that reality is far deeper, far richer, and far more alive than appearances suggest. And once you have seen through the invisible, you will never see the visible the same way again. So I leave you with this. Do not be afraid to awaken. Do not be afraid to see. Eyes of the body look outward, but the eye of the soul looks inward. And what it sees will change your life forever.